This video is brought to you by Skillshare. The first 1,000 people to click my link in the video description will get a free 1-month trial to Skillshare today.
I don't think anyone has ever done this before.
So, with me, I have a man who has decided to go all the way when it comes to jacking in the Matrix and make the most advanced Minecraft layout known to humankind, to the extent that when he dies in the game, he dies in real life. We have Legundo, one life, the man.
Probably just my career dying, not actually IRL. Just gonna put that out there, but you never know. You never know.
He spent 100 days in Minecraft and has yet to be able to be pulled out of his computer.
For many, many hours a week, that is true. But yeah, how you doing?
Doing all right. How about you?
Good. Getting by. We were just commiserating over parenthood right before the camera started rolling. So that was
Your
good.
life starts to take over a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Legundo and I go way back to the days where he used to do Minecraft before he stopped doing Minecraft and then does Minecraft again. And even back then, like, you've always been kind of trying to push the envelope of doing creative or just like out there things with your servers and now with streaming. And so I feel like it's only fitting that, of course, you now have developed this insane layout. And it's a big goal of mine for 2022 to showcase as many people as possible that are like pushing streaming or like stream tech to the next level. And after I saw your video, I was like, I got to hit the man up. We got to talk. We got to showcase this overlay because it's insane.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I get super giddy talking about it because
As you should.
It's cool. It's really cool. So
give us the basic rundown.
Okay. So, I have my Minecraft instance, which is running the Fabric API, which is an open source modding API. It's one of two that exist. I wrote a mod that's explicitly for myself that listens for specific in-game events and then either will trigger hotkeys or update files or a message to some plugins on the OBS side of things using things like auto hotkey, advanced scene switcher, all of the extra hidden which I literally just saw a video on your channel today about the extra hidden function buttons. I did it like 2 weeks ago because I knew that like there's F13 through 24. Yeah. So it'll do.
I still have a single keyboard with those buttons.
But that's such a find. So it does all of those, and then in like advanced scene switcher or a couple other macros, I have that will trigger video files to become visible or not visible, or activate filters or other things to the layout. And it all is set up in this package where I've rendered all these video files the exact same dimension, so they all layer over each other, that my webcam frame can go from healthy to danger to dead, depending on how things are. And I've added things like if I'm on fire, there's now little flames at the bottom of the window. If I'm underwater, there's bubbles that are appearing on top of me. And little animations for when you do things in the game, depending on like what you're doing. And I'm constantly adding to it now.
Right. And this is compatible with even like you join servers and stuff, not just your single player worlds,
yes,
right?
And it requires nothing on the server. So I'm able to go do like play Bed Wars and get super sweaty in that and get crushed by the people who actually know like old Minecraft PvP. But I can get like the good shots and my camera will react to the gameplay, which is kind of cool.
I think a lot of this is probably owed to, I guess, the open nature of Minecraft, given, you know, the wide gamut of, what is it, 14 years now of Minecraft mods being a thing. You know, there's kind of some history there.
Yeah. I mean, from day one, I try not to sound like too much of a fanboy about this, right? But from day one, I think Minecraft is the only game of its size that you get like a weekly snapshot build, and the source code can be decompiled, right. And they don't DMCA and send cease and desist notices to people who do it. In fact, it's kind of like built into the game,
right?
For better or worse. We've seen that go. We've seen that go in bad ways too. Having access to that source code, being able to write all these APIs and then build plugins and mods on top of those, let you do kind of crazy things. I've seen similar-ish kind of things for other games, but that relied on things like OCR and image recognition to be able to actually read the status in the game. I think Michael Reeves made a gun that shot him if he lost health in Fortnite. This is like 5 years ago. I was not going to make my Minecraft layout tase myself, but the rest of it was kind of cool. So there's ways.
Yeah, there's services like AthenaScope, which analyze, like, they specifically train it on the UI elements of, like, when you get kills and things like that in a game. But that happens after the fact. That doesn't happen in real time. So being able to access the code is really interesting. And it reminds me, like, because I've been trying to brainstorm. I'm like, okay, this is really freaking cool, but it's only Minecraft. And while Minecraft is its own thing, and that's really cool, but I'm like, how do we... I feel like, I guess personally, and maybe you differ, but, like, I feel like this is maybe indicative of what the next step for game overlays could be. You think back to, I don't know if you remember, the Logitech, like, G15 keyboards and stuff with the screens. There used to be a ton of apps which would look into your game and show, like, your in-game stats on those little keyboard LCDs and stuff. And, like, that used, like, I'm thinking, we used to have this tech where you could, like, project, you know, elements of your game onto secondary screens. Like, why don't we build that into our streaming from now on, especially with how many games are really kind of like, some games are built purely to be streamed at this point.
Yeah, I mean, and there is tech for it. Razer has the keyboard layouts. You can have, depending on the game that you're playing, it'll light up and do different things. And if you get certain multi-kills or events, I know Halo has it. If you get certain multi-kills or events, the keyboard will, like, sparkle and do little light waves. I remember,
I think one with Overwatch, like, it would highlight your hero or your ultimate button whenever that was ready, and, like, make it pulse and
it
stuff.
Would blink, and, like, you'd get the ones around it that would do a little animation.
Yeah,
I remembered stuff like that. And I also remembered, like, I try to change out my layout every 6-ish months or so, keep things innovative and keep things fresh. But it's always basically been the same thing. It's gameplay in the back, webcam on the side. And I keep hearing you and Nutty and Harris say that people need to innovate and do different things. I'm like, okay, I'm probably this one weird person who has this perfect storm of eclectic skills I've picked up over the last decade and a half. Let me see if this can work. And I have a video file of the very first moment that it actually worked, and you could see the look on my face. It's in the video too. You can see the look on my face, like the eyebrows go up. I get this really big shit-eating grin on my face, and I'm like, wait, wait.
You got magic.
It's like, it's cool. And I've gotten pings from people of like, okay, how do I get it? And it's like, I'm gonna keep this one for a little while. Like, this is really cool. I want to keep this for a bit.
That was gonna be my question. Like, do you have any future plans to distribute it?
So, like I said,
or sell it?
I change my layout up every 6 months. So maybe that. Like, it's not ready for production.
Right. No, and that's the complicated part with a lot of those layouts, because you've got to have, like, at least 30 or like 50 video files that, like, you can't just no, people don't want to go around streaming with the Legundo logo. Like, that's not gonna work.
You would physically need to make all of those video files to the exact dimensions, still set up your layout to have them all pixel perfect with all the nested scenes and everything. It's not ready for production. If I could find a site and like find a way to do it in a single web browser or something along those lines, like a Stream Elements overlay or something like that, maybe. But right now it's not ready for that. Like, it is very much a hack.
Yeah.
But yeah, like all good software is at the beginning.
This video is me making good on my promise to focus on showing more and more amazing work that creators are doing to push the streaming medium forward. I've also been trying to make 2022 a year of learning and growing, pursuing new creative passions, starting new channels, and learning new skills. You can do that too with our sponsor, Skillshare. If you have a specific skill you're trying to learn or a new hobby you'd like to pursue, Skillshare is the perfect place to start. From photography and illustration to graphic design, freelancing, and more, you can find classes that will match your goals and interests. If you're interested in developing Minecraft mods like our guest, you may be interested in this Java for Complete Beginners course. Or if you want to do content creation like myself, you may be interested in Marquez Brownlee's Intro to YouTube course. The first 1,000 people to use my link will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. That way you can get a head start on learning and see what's available. Skillshare is ad-free to help you focus and has new premium classes launched each week, so your curiosity can always be satisfied. Again, that's a 1-month free trial just for my viewers, linked below. Do you see it evolving any more from this point, or are you going to wait until you change it again and then do something extra, or are you going to keep like tweaking it as you stream?
Oh, I've still been adding events. For example, for Monday's stream of this week, I knew I was going to be doing a lot of stuff underwater. So I added a bunch of aquatic related events, like when I started swimming, when I got into and out of the water, it does a little splash effect. They're all super subtle, and maybe 6 people will notice them. But when they do, there's that.
Yeah.
It's that extra mile kind of thing. In Kanto, everybody's about it, right? It took people so long to notice Bruno in the background of one of the songs, just like bobbing his head like this and just dancing around to his own song. And then that's all I see on YouTube is just clips of people just posting that. Or I open TikTok and every 4th video is like, did you notice this? Those are the kinds of things that people will catch. And like, that's the old school virality.
Right.
Not just, I've caused property damage.
Right. Smashing PS5.
Yeah.
That's really interesting too, because whenever I first watched your video when it went up, I didn't notice the like initial effect, even though you made your camera bigger and everything, like the initial like the rocket effect. I didn't see the smoke come out. I just saw it like wiggle for a second. I was just like, eh. And then I went back and watched it slow, and I saw it, and I was just like, oh, that's what that was. And then forever, like I could be locked into what was happening, and it was just like, oh my god. But like at first I was like, wait, this is what you made? And obviously it got better from there, but my initial impression was just like waiting for it.
You say that in the video, you could literally watch the chat, and there's one person who just goes, well, that's underwhelming. Like you get a couple people who are just freaking out, and they're like, oh, that's cool. One person's like, well, that's underwhelming. And then I go through all of the different effects, and it gets to the end, and I see the same person. They're like, okay, that's better. So
1 out of 10 moved to a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, it's like, I'll take it. But no, like I very much started the video and I started the reveal on stream with the simplest one and then worked my way up because I knew like you can't just show everything. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, I made this little thing. No, you start there. Got to get that watch time.
Get that viewer retention.
Yeah, that's the algorithm.
One of the things that made me think of is there are plugins now for like people are developing more and more plugins to monitor what happens in games in emulators of like old Game Boy games and things like that. So like there's a Pokemon plugin to where you can literally track your party in real time, and it's somehow reading that from your emulator. Emulator. Don't know what happened there. Which is really cool because we talked about the screen reading stuff, and that's super limited and whatever, but this literally takes the data. And so I guess my goal here is like to put this out here and be like, okay, streaming people / programming nerds, take this and run with it. Don't just copy like yours and do the Minecraft thing because that's your thing and that would be crappy, but like let's see this for things we can access, because obviously not every game has full open APIs or any way to access this data, even though like we talked about some ways. I don't know. I get the feeling Razer and companies like that have to be whitelisted to snoop on some of this data, especially with anti-cheat these days.
Oh yeah, there's got to be internal APIs that like the average dude in a basement's not going to get access to.
But for games and scenarios where we can, like I would love to see more and more of this. And it will still, I think it's one of those things where we might be looking at years before this kind of layout is super accessible to everyone, because we just talked about scene construction, the files involved, the tweaking, because if something goes wrong, like, and I guess that's also a roadblock to you distributing it or selling it, is if someone has an issue, then you're support. And you don't want to be tech support.
No.
That's not your job.
No.
I know that feeling.
No, so. Please, no. No support,
so
as is. I got nothing. Good luck.
Yeah. So it'll be a while before it's super accessible to where anyone can set this up and do it. But I think if we see a push for like more and more things to be built around the games that can support it, I think that would be really cool, especially older games. Like when you have hardcore communities following certain older games, like it'd be so cool to have just dedicated, like involved layouts for this stuff. And it's really, I think what shocked me the most about your video is the question I was sitting there after the fact was like, why am I just now seeing this? Like Minecraft's been around since 2009 or earlier, and we've had, streaming layouts have been evolving over time. And I even remember back in the early like Call of Duty commentary days, people would edit up their own frames with like their perks and their kill streak status and all this stuff, but it was all manual.
Yeah,
and I'm
but
like,
the people
why
who
haven't
did
we
that
seen this?
Went above and beyond to make it that much better, and that was the thing that made it stand out.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I remembered that, right? Like that came to mind. And like I said, the Michael Reeves video, I've seen there's like Pokemon where people put their Pokemon up in the top. I think you did that too as well.
Yeah.
So there's ways to do it. And you're right. Why hasn't anybody done it? I think it's because streaming, like you look at one or two streams, you've basically seen them all. Right?
Yeah.
Gameplay, webcam, a just chatting scene, a be right back and ending, and that's kind of it. And I was just tired of being just another just another one of those. So it's just a matter of, I don't know, the willingness to sink the time into something, plus the fact of I'm not a full-time streamer, so my headspace isn't always in I have to be live and watching anime or something to get my job done. Like,
Where's our MasterChef stream overlays?
I 100% also, I won't lie, the fact that React content was live put some small part of that, put this idea in my head of reactive. I wonder if I could, no, maybe, yes, no, maybe. It's the stupidest perfect storm of how I got here. I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head. It's just one day I sat down and started coding it and made it happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, to your point, I would love to see this more common. I don't want to be the only person who has it, but I'm issuing like that challenge or trying to raise that bar of being like, here it is. It's possible. Now go make it. Now go make more of it. So.
And that's what I really, the more I show these crazy stream layouts and stuff, that's what I really hope to see. Because obviously, if everyone just had, if you provided yours free or whatever, and every Minecraft streamer had it, it's not going to stand out, which is why you'd wait until you had your next layout anyway. But like, especially just like channel surfing between, which is a term no one knows anymore, channel surfing between streamers streaming the same game, you have no way to see like what they're doing. Like the first category I started with was Apex, and like I don't know how many games they're in, I don't know how many wins they've had, I don't know what their like momentum's like, I don't know how many some games have the kill tracker, but like I don't have any information about what's happening in the game other than them running around in first person in that moment. And that feels like such a disorienting experience. Like imagine tuning into a sports broadcast and you just have like a camera up close on the players and you don't know what the score is, what the teams are, any of that. And the same thing with esports. Like they don't do that. They have very clear data always going, and not every streamer needs to be super professional or formal or whatever, but I want to see more of that because it's so hard to jump in and then you're the 500th person asking the streamer like, how many wins you got today? How's the games going today? And while chat interaction's great, streamers really, you get bogged down by answering the same question every 10 minutes when it could just be part of the experience.
Yeah, and a scoreboard, that's a really good example. Like that's also something like I'd like to add or to see in more competitive style games, because that's also parsable. You can figure that out. But it's at a glance you see how the day's been going, kind of.
Right.
And there's some layouts who give that with like Twitch-based events. Like you can see who was the top donator this stream, usually. That is the information that gets prioritized, which is fine, which is cool. Like that's part
helps people make money, I guess.
But which is cool. That's part of the meta. I get that.
Yeah.
But also you could level information from your game the same way. One thing that was in, like, you can now redeem a channel point reward. It's dirt cheap. It's like 50 points, which you get every couple minutes. And it'll show on screen what the day is, because my webcam is right above the day on the debug screen, because I want to set myself.
That was one of my favorite parts of that layout, was like you could literally request information from the game. Like that's just so, as a viewer, like being able to just interact with, it's like it feels like we're pressing a button in your game that doesn't interfere with you playing, but tells us what's going on. And that's just
I have the same for now playing. So whenever people can request the current song and it'll animate in, there's a chat leaderboard who's talked the most in a specific stream. You can see there's other things that will pop in and pop out on request. So they're relevant, but the layout stays clean, which is the most, like I've seen the layouts where there's 6 boxes across the top and a ticker on the bottom. I've made those layouts. There's video of me with them. We're all guilty of it. As I've got to see more and learn more, having it be really clean and having only the important information presented at the time is the thing that was most important to me.
Right.
So that's why I started with my health, because it's a hardcore world. If I die, it's 2,050 days of in-game time just gone. So being able to see at a moment's notice, you look at the screen, and another thing that I kind of it's accessible too. So people can see if they're on a phone, my health is really small. And if for some reason they can't see or they can't hear the audio for some reason, or the volume's low, they're getting a phone call, they can look at my screen. Okay, webcam's blue, he's safe. Webcam's red. Uh-oh. Webcam's black. What's happened?
Yeah. I saw a chat message about that during your live demo. Someone was like, hey, it's no audio friendly. And I'm just like, yeah,
that's somebody actually who I know is deaf who watches my streams. And they watch my streams because I have closed captioning on. And that's the only way that they're able to engage with me. I actually recently switched from an extension-based one to Twitch's integrated closed captioning, which is better. Like, it's been more accurate.
Interesting. I've been wanting to set that up, and it's just been one of those things I always forget about.
Yeah, so it was on my to-do list when I updated the layout. It's, okay, let's install this new plugin and get that set up and do the thing. And I started with closed captions for that person, and then others who have come in and it's like, oh, the stream's accessible. That's really nice. And it's something you have to be active about. You can't just hope for the best. You have to put the effort in to make that happen. And it's kind of that. Not exactly, because you need like that legend which translates what means what. But kind of.
Right. Well, as we wrap up here, what do you have going on that people should check out besides, of course, tuning into your stream to see it happen live?
You want to see my stream? I'm live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8 p.m. to midnight Eastern. I also release videos on YouTube once or twice a week, usually. And I'm experimenting with posting videos on Facebook, too, as well, which is a whole nother story we could probably talk about. But I'm doing the old school CNANer style commentaries of just having gameplay and just talking and treating it like a video diary and seeing it's like, okay, this is YouTube from several years ago. Let's see if this actually does well. So it's been fun. I'm playing around. I'm on all the things at Legundo.
Yeah. Consistent name.
Yeah. Got the branding.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. Links to everything mentioned will be in the description below. I don't know what else to say.
Thank you, dude. Good to see you again.
Yeah. Woo.
R.I.P. Halo 3.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wore this specifically. I'm like, yes. But yeah.